This is going to be difficult because I'm asking for short answers here. So short, think short. I'd like to talk about immigration enforcement. Not a full minute, you're not going to see the countdown. We're going short. If elected, would you seek to roll back Colorado's limit on local law enforcement cooperation with federal immigration enforcement? And would you seek to enroll the Colorado State Patrol in the federal program designed to deputize local and state law enforcement to actively participate in immigration enforcement? I'll start short answer with Mr. Marks.
I love immigration. It's legal. And I think the burden that immigration has put on us is part of the issue of affordability. Over $1.4 billion is spent. I think we can work with the feds for proper law enforcement while still showing compassion to those in need. But as governor, what I'll do is I'll have a special task force to work with them and go after the criminals, the ones that are here. We'll get them.
Mr. Bottoms.
Yeah, the governor does have the ability to mobilize the National Guard. I will do that, specifically against the Venezuelan cartel in Aurora. We will also, we can use police forces. We can do a lot of things like that. We can actually engage special forces that are active duty under the direction of the president, Article 32. So there's a lot of options we have, but we have to clean up the illegal immigrant issue and the crime and make sure these people are held accountable.
Ms. Kirkmeyer, would you seek to roll back what Colorado has done to limit cooperation with federal law enforcement?
I would seek to roll that back, and it's a statutory provision, and it goes even farther than just law enforcement. So I would seek to roll that back because there's clearly a conflict between state law and federal law. Yeah. So yes.
And would you try to deputize local law enforcement to help out?
First of all, that's not my role to deputize local law enforcement. They're accountable to the people in the communities that they serve.
Would you do that for Colorado State Patrol?
It would depend. I want to make sure that they're continuing with their job and that they have the ability to work with ICE and work with the federal government on matters of keeping us safe. So yes, I would look at that.
Continuing with short answer, Mr. Bottoms, if elected, would you seek to withhold state funding from so-called sanctuary cities, which often have strict limits on cooperation with federal immigration enforcement?
Yeah, I'll definitely withhold funds. Sanctuary cities, sanctuary states, not constitutional, it's illegal. So we might need to put some mayors in jail in the process and some people that are really outside the lines constitutionally. This is not okay to go against federal law.
How would you put a mayor in jail?
You call the attorney general and say, put them in jail.
Ms. Kirkmeyer.
Okay, I'm not doing that.
Would you seek to withhold funding from so-called sanctuary cities?
Yes, I would. I would probably consider that, but I'm not sure which funding you're talking about because I don't have the ability as governor to withhold federal funding from local governments. That's not in my role as a governor. So
there are grants that we've seen recently with this administration. There are certain grants that cities and counties can apply for that the legislature and the governor would have control over?
I would consider it, but I also have to consider that the people who live in those communities, whether it's the county or a municipality, those are my constituents as well. And just because maybe their leadership doesn't have it right, or because there is a state law that doesn't work right, doesn't mean that they should be jeopardized and not get the services and the programs that they deserve to get.
So you would disagree with the policy, but you'd let the money continue to flow?
Depends on where it was going, yes.
Mr. Marks.
Well, if you're talking about federal funding, I think it's important.
He's not. He's talking about state funding. I asked.
State funding?
Funding that you would have control over as governor.
Well, I think we got to.
Sorry.
No, I appreciate
Sorry.
that. You know what? Yes. The short answer is yes, if the governor has control, because that is taxpayers' money. And I know more Coloradans out there that are suffering because of the sanctuary city policies.
Ms. Kirkmeyer, one last thing.
I would just like a follow-up. So I was a county commissioner during COVID, and actually Jared Polis, Governor Polis, told the Weld County commissioners that he was going to withhold grant funds or withhold dollars from us. He didn't know exactly which funds those were, but he said he was going to. Right. And we went after him on that. And it's because we said we would not enforce his policies, his executive order, and so we went after him on that. The people who live in these communities, regardless of who their elected officials are, still deserve to have those grants and still deserve to have those programs because they are taxpayers, and that is where the dollars are coming from. So the governor shouldn't be so short-sighted that he's not going to provide that to the people who live in our state, regardless of where they live and who's in charge.
Thank you, Ms. Kirkmeyer.